Hi YouTube, welcome to my video. This is my 1988 E30 318 BMW. I've had this car for about 4 years. I've noticed that there's some water in the passenger side footwell when I've washed it a few times. So I decided to go around investigating what might be the cause of that water. The carpet's got a quite thick sponge on it and it just seems to soak the water up, and it's quite a job to dry it out. So I decided to try and tackle the issue and stop my car from being a total basket case. So the three theories that I read online around why I might have water in my passenger side footwell. So number one is the elephant's trunk, as it's known. It sits on this piece here. It's a rubber elephant's trunk shaped piece, and it's supposed to let the water that gets into this area through here and into here just drain out into the engine bay. It can fill up with dirt and debris and then it will just get back into the car. The second one is the sunroof drain hole theory. So underneath here, or around here somewhere, there's a hole, and there's one on the other side. Any water that gets into here will just run through this channel inside, and it leaks out, I believe, around this bottom area somewhere. Again, people say about putting an airline down there and blowing it and that kind of stuff, but I looked at number three theory, which was the dreaded fuse box rust. So having looked at my fuse box, which is now here, the fuse box normally lives in this area. It just sits there. It sits on this bracket, so the bracket's on there and the fuse box just sits there quite happily. And if you look at it with the fuse box in place, you've got the bracket for the bonnet there, the hinge for the bonnet's there, you'll have the wing obviously. It's actually quite difficult to see under this area, to see if there's any rot. So where I noticed that my fuse box was sort of not attached, this bracket was just rotted, I started to have a bit more of a look around, and yeah, obviously you've discovered that there's quite a bit of rust in that area. So the hardest part, I mean, I haven't actually repaired it yet, as you can see, so I don't really know how that's going to go, but the hardest bit to get it to this state is the amount of stripping of the car that is required. It's a very big job. This wiring loom needs to be pulled all the way through the car and out into the engine bay through this hole down here. So I mean, there is talk I've read online. People say you can cut the loom and rejoin it, but the space that's available in there, and obviously to cut and join that, I'm not sure how many wires are in there, but there's quite a few. There's talk of putting connectors in and all sorts, but the only real way to do it is to take the loom out from inside the car. So as you can see, my loom's now sitting in the engine bay. So to weld that up, we'll need to, be quite a bit of heat going through that metal area. So I mean, if you don't take that loom out, you really are at risk of causing a lot of damage. And inside the car, the access is quite bad with the glove box in, the dash, everything like that. I'd be very doubtful that you'd actually be able to do a really good job of repairing it. Some people took cars to the scrapyard with the rot in these areas. But I mean, they're getting quite rare now, and this one, if you ever look around, it's actually quite straight. I mean, the bodywork is very dirty and dusty at the moment. It's been sitting here for a while, but the car itself, it's in good condition. So I've decided to do the work, and hopefully it will live on. So if I show you inside the car, this is the current state of affairs in here. So yeah, to get to the point where we're at now, the dash, all the interior carpets, centre console, everything's had to be removed. So what you can see here is what's remaining of the loom. So you don't have to take the whole loom out, but I'd say it's 90% of it to get it to that point. So the wiring that you can see here is what's left. Some of this is actually from the alarm and tweeters for the audio, but the only thing I've done is I've actually cut, you can see here, I've actually cut the loom going into the back of the car. Now that piece there you see there is obviously what feeds all the rear, the lights and all the stuff in the back. yeah, that was my decision to cut that. I've actually got a scrap loom from another BMW, the same model, so I've cut this piece out, and I will cut and solder this piece back into the existing loom when it's pushed back through into the hole. It's just a matter of sort of soldering and heat shrinking it up, but I mean that would save. I mean it's one of them, you can cut it and join it if you can get a piece of wire, or you can get the right gauge wire, or you can just remove the rest of that loom from the car, but I decided to go down that road. So in terms of the rot in here, I mean that's the rot that you can see from the outside under the fuse box. So that's the hole at the top, is the hole where the bonnet pull catch cable for the catch goes. The catch just lives on the side here, just underneath them that wire there. And yeah, there's the hole, and that's the hole for the loom. So that hole there is where the rubber grommet for the loom lives. There are also some theories online about having a hole in this grommet area here that would cause the water to get in. So if you've put an aftermarket cable through, like for some audio or an alarm cable or something, but I don't see that really being a major player in this kind of rot. And as you can see in this one, we've got the problem of that rot there. So yeah, to get that to that point, to be able to get in there, to have any chance of repairing that or welding it, cutting it out, grinding it back, wherever, you've really got to take the dash, the glove box out, the carpet. So here's the current repairs that's been done on this. It's quite hard to sort of see it in its entirety, but it's got some, I don't know what that is, some kind of paint or something on there. I think it's had a bit of a patch on it before, but I think that's, prevention is better than cure. So if you're going to just keep welding the holes up, then you're never going to stop that water getting in the car. It's never going to fix itself. So I'll go around to the driver's side. There are also a few holes in the driver's side area which I'm yet to work out where they've come from. So let me just open this door. So here we are on the driver's side. Yeah, there's a few holes down here. There's one there, excuse my torch work. There's another one there, and there's another one there, and then the last one is up in this area there. So I think this is just caused by water that's trapped underneath in between. So here we've got a heat shield under the car. I'm going to just give it a shake around because it's all loose now. There it is there. So that's like a heat shield for the exhaust, and I think you can see there it sort of sits there. As it's put into place, I think the water's just sitting in between this heat shield, and obviously it's just causing that to rot away. So yeah, that will just need cutting out and having some patches put in it, and then maybe some sealer underneath to tackle that. But yeah, that's the current state of play with this BMW. I thought I'd make this video. I've seen some really good stuff online about people repairing these cars, and often showing the different spots of rust that you get. I mean, there's all sorts of places they go. I've had a look around the back of this car, all inside the boot and all that stuff, and it's all pretty solid. There's no rust or rot in there. So yeah, decided to try and tackle this one, repair it. I've currently started to make a new bracket for the fuse box because I can't find anywhere online where I could buy one of these brackets. And I did have a look at a scrap one, but it was just rotted in the same place. So yeah, that just sort of sits in there. That sits in there like that, and then obviously the fuse box is screwed to that through a hole I'm yet to make in the top, and it's got some little lugs at the bottom that I've got to bend out. But yeah, that will live in there. So got quite a bit of fabrication to do in order to make this in one piece again. I'll update some more videos as I go along, and hopefully this is going to provide someone else with the same sort of issues as I've got, with a bit more of an insight into why they might have some water in their footwell.